The cold winds howled through the streets of Gotham, carrying with them an air of finality. Gotham's protector, Batman, stood at the edge of the roof of Wayne Tower, staring at the scene below, his city shrouded in shadows. But tonight, Gotham wasn't just a place of crime and chaos, it was a place of loss. His closest allies, Robin, Batgirl, and Alfred, had all been taken from him, killed by a dangerous criminal syndicate known as the Black Serpents. With his heart heavy with grief and his soul drowning in anger, Batman felt a familiar but dangerous fire burning within him. The urge for vengeance was consuming him, and as he gazed down into the abyss, a dark thought crept into his mind. What if I became like him? What if the only way to stop the Black Serpents was to take the law into my own hands, just like Frank Castle, the Punisher? The death of Robin, Batgirl, and Alfred had shattered Bruce Wayne's world. Each of them had been more than just allies. They were family. They had stood by him through the darkest nights, sharing his burdens and fighting alongside him for Gotham's survival. But now they were gone, erased by the Black Serpents in a brutal display of power. No ransom, no demands, just death. Bruce had tried everything. His detective skills, his gadgets, his connections, but every lead turned into a dead end. The Black Serpents were too well organized, too elusive. In the darkness of the Batcave, Bruce could no longer sit idly by. The police, the justice system, they were powerless. Gotham's corrupt politicians and criminals were too entrenched. He needed to do something different, and so Batman made a choice. He would become the Punisher. The first night he donned the black armor, modified with an added arsenal of weaponry, Bruce felt something change deep inside him. No longer was he the symbol of hope, the Dark Knight who upheld justice with mercy and compassion. Tonight he was a different kind of predator. His first target was a small gang operating under the Black Serpent's command. They had been responsible for smuggling weapons into Gotham, arming the criminal elite. Batman had tracked them down to an old warehouse on the outskirts of the city. As he entered the building, his movements were precise, lethal. No longer concerned with incapacitating criminals or leaving them for the authorities, he was focused only on one thing: revenge. The warehouse was filled with armed thugs, but they were no match for the cold fury that drove Batman forward. With each pull of the trigger, he silenced another life, another piece of the syndicate. It was over quickly, and in the aftermath, Batman stood among the fallen bodies, breathing heavily. His mind was clouded, but he felt a twisted satisfaction in knowing that for the first time, he was in control. No more holding back. No more trying to save those who didn't deserve it. But even in the silence, something gnawed at him. Was this the right path? Was this who he had become? The next night he struck again. This time it was the Serpent's second-in-command, Victor Reyes, a ruthless enforcer with a reputation for cruelty. Batman knew where he would be, a lavish mansion on the outskirts of Gotham. Reyes had orchestrated the attack that had claimed Alfred's life. He would pay for it. Batman infiltrated the mansion with terrifying precision, his every step calculated. He was a force of nature, a shadow that moved faster than anyone could react. When he found Reyes, the man was in his study, sitting behind a desk, unaware of the impending death. Batman didn't say a word. He simply raised his weapon, aimed at Reyes, and pulled the trigger. The shot was deafening, and Reyes fell forward, onto his desk. There was no struggle, no begging for mercy. The punishment had been swift and final. But as Batman stood over the body of the man who had taken so much from him, the satisfaction didn't come. Instead, all he felt was emptiness. This wasn't justice, it was murder. The same kind of cold, heartless action he had spent years fighting against. For a moment, Bruce stood frozen, his mind racing. He had crossed a line, and he wasn't sure he could come back from it. Days passed, and the city seemed to grow darker with each passing moment. Batman's crusade continued, but each victory was bittersweet. He had wiped out countless Black Serpent operatives, destroyed their operations, and taken down their leaders. But nothing felt right. The anger, the rage, It was consuming him. One night he stood alone in the Batcave, surrounded by the evidence of his actions. The weapons, the bloodstains, the bodies. He had become the very thing he had sworn to fight against. He wasn't sure if he was still Batman anymore. He didn't know if he had any humanity left. And then, something unexpected happened. Alfred's voice, calm and wise as ever, echoed in his mind. "Master Wayne, vengeance is a hollow victory. It will only lead you further into darkness." The words, though imagined, struck Bruce deeply. He closed his eyes, remembering the man who had raised him, who had taught him the value of mercy and honor. Alfred had always been his moral compass, guiding him through the toughest decisions. And now, in his darkest hour, Alfred's voice still had the power to pull him back from the brink. Bruce clenched his fists, his knuckles white with tension. He couldn't keep walking down this path. It wasn't who he was. It wasn't what Gotham needed. The climax came when Batman finally confronted the true mastermind behind the Black Serpents, an elusive figure known only as the Serpent King. For years this individual had remained a shadow, always staying one step ahead of Bruce, but now in his relentless pursuit of vengeance, Batman had tracked him down to an abandoned building on Gotham's east side. The Serpent King was waiting, a smug grin on his face as Batman entered the room. The stench of death lingered in the air as Batman approached, weapons raised. But as he stepped forward, the Serpent King spoke. "You think killing me will bring them back? Your allies, your family, gone because of your obsession. You're no better than the monsters you fight." Batman froze. For the first time in weeks, his rage faltered. The Serpent King's words struck him like a punch to the gut. "Is this what I've become?" Batman thought. "A monster?" In that moment, the weight of his actions hit him with full force. The Punisher was a man driven by vengeance, but Batman was supposed to be more than that. He wasn't just a man of justice, he was a symbol of hope for Gotham. He couldn't abandon that. With a swift motion, Batman dropped his weapons, choosing to fight with his hands, using only his skill and strength to defeat the Serpent King. There was no bloodshed, no killing, just a swift, decisive takedown. As the Serpent King lay unconscious on the floor, Batman looked down at him, not with the satisfaction of a killer, but with the relief of someone who had found his way back. He had rediscovered his true purpose, the one he had abandoned in the heat of his grief. He wasn't the Punisher. He was Batman, and that was enough. The story ends with Batman standing over Gotham, the city he had sworn to protect. He had faced the darkness within himself and come out on the other side, not unscathed, but stronger. The loss of his friends would never be erased, but he had learned something crucial in the process. Vengeance was a path that only led to more pain, but justice, true justice, was the light that would guide him. As the bat signal shone brightly in the night sky, Batman knew that Gotham still needed him, and this time he would fight for it the way he always had, with honor, compassion, and a commitment to protecting those who could not protect themselves. What do you think of Batman's transformation in this story? Can vengeance ever truly bring peace? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and feel free to suggest other superhero dynamics you'd like to see explored in future videos.